Thanks, Joe.
I'm
I'll
sure.
pass.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Thank you, though.
Yeah, well, you know exactly what I'm talking about, though.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just not going.
Yeah, that's Maricopa County, my friend. Wow, how to make Dr. Boswell quiet. That was pretty good.
Well, I would just get in trouble if I kept talking at this point.
Oh, shoot.
He looks like Bob, the airline pilot tonight.
Did, John Lane, no? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I just got on, Lori.
Oh, okay, great.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Hello, John.
There you are.
We noticed you're a little tardy.
I'm sorry, Rich.
I said hello.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
Why are you sorry that Rich said hello?
I thought he said something else.
Oh,
He said he noticed you were a little tardy.
Oh, yeah, but I couldn't get on.
Oh, is that what he said?
Frank said that.
We're supposed to say, I don't feel tardy?
I don't feel tardy.
Hey,
Joe,
Lori,
I
I just got
care of it.
Lori, I just got a text that we're going live on Facebook.
Correct.
Cool.
We are in the cable channels as well.
Way to go.
So we're covered so far. Okay. I think I'm ready if you're ready. Portia, we're ready.
Hit the record button.
Thank you.
This conference
if
will
I-
now be recorded.
Thank you. And if I may also just
This
remind.
conference is no longer being recorded.
That was a quick meeting.
Sure.
way to go, Frank. That's your
This
best
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'm not going to touch anything. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to remind those from the public, if you're online, if you don't mind keeping your microphone muted until the public comments section, and Council President will call on you. Thank you very much.
Okay. It's 7:01. I call tonight's meeting to order. Tonight's meeting is a virtual meeting via GoToMeeting. Tonight's meeting is available on gotomeeting.com, the cable channels Optimum Channel 77, Verizon Fios Channel 28, and live streaming on Facebook, the Borough Hawthorne NJ Group, https://www.facebook.com/groups/11359794600702990. You may also email questions and comments to the Borough Clerk, and her email address is lfernandez@hawthornenj.org. You can also log in from your computer, tablet, or smartphone at https://global.gotomeeting.com/join/472-199-829. Or dial in at 312-757-3121 with the access code of 472-199-829. Can't say we're not accommodating. Roll call.
Bennett,
Here.
Leosa,
Here.
Lane,
Here.
Mealy,
Here.
Ciara,
Here.
Wotecki,
Here.
Matthews.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, and one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the annual schedule of regular meetings, herefore adopted and posted on public bulletin board and at the municipal building, emailed to the Hawthorne Press, the Herald News, the Record, the Gazette, and all persons who have requested the mailing of such schedule. And a copy of said schedule has remained on file in the office of the Borough Clerk from and since December 12th, 2019. In accordance with the executive orders issued by Governor Murphy relating to COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will take place in a virtual setting on the GoToMeeting platform. Approval of the minutes. Can I have minutes of the October 7th and 21st, 2020? Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Witecki, second by Lane. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Witecki?
Yeah.
Chiara?
Yes.
Neely?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Leosa?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Matthews?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Public comment on agenda items only. I'll now open the meeting to the public for any agenda items. You may call in at 312-757-3121, access code 472-199-829, or use the chat feature that's on the site we're on the GoToMeeting site if you're currently logged on. Not seeing any. Can I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Motion by Lane, second by Witecki. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Adoption of ordinances. We have none this evening. We have discussions, which are part of new business. But before we start the new business, I just want to congratulate Michael on his reelection. I'd also like to congratulate everyone who ran and put their name out there. It's not an easy task. So even though you may not have been victorious, thank you for running and participating in our democracy. I think overall in Hawthorne, we did pretty well as far as keeping the tone civil. And it was kind of nice to see an election locally that had not a lot of negativity to it. And I want to commend everyone. So keep it that way. I really enjoyed seeing the positivity in people presenting what they would like to do versus knocking each other like occurred on the national level. So with that said, we have two discussions that I'll turn this over to Eric to talk about. One is regarding our best practices, which is more of a state issue. And then the other is something that is a grant program that Councilwoman Leosa kind of took the horns and ran with. But I'll let Eric kind of outline both of them.
Thank you, Council President. Since you've given me this time for these two topics, when we get later in the meeting, I'll try to make my regular report a little short because I'm sure neither the council nor the public wants to hear too much from me.
We can hit the mute button.
That's true. Feel free. As everybody on the council knows, and maybe some people from the public, the state of New Jersey requires all municipalities to complete annually a best practices inventory, a list of items that the Division of Local Government Services puts together that they think are important to focus attention on things local governments ought to be doing. The state law that enables that also puts some teeth in it because a municipality who doesn't score high enough on the inventory can lose up to 5% of their state aid. Not a whole lot of money, but enough that no one in local government wants to be responsible for having cost their taxpayers. The inventory we did this year has 29 different scored points, scored questions, some of them worth a point, some worth half a point. We had to get a total of 16 points in order not to lose money. We received 20.5 points, so we were well within the what we needed. There are a number of items that we don't meet, but we're at work already on addressing some of those. So should the same questions appear next year, we will be able to answer them positively. And even if they don't occur next year, we will at least be moving to what the state considers best practices for local government. I've included a report for the council. There's no council action required. It's just something that the administration has to discuss with the council. If you have any specific questions, I will be happy to go over them. A copy of the inventory is in your packet, and we will post it as well on the website. So if the public wants to see what we're doing and what we're not doing, they'll see it. And there are comments so that if there are things we're not doing but we plan to, they tell us. We tell them. There are also, in addition to the 29 scored questions, there are a bunch of unscored questions that that just are put on the inventory to gather information for the state. On some of those, it's just information gathering. Some of those, it's possible that a best practice will derive from that in future years. So we provide that information. And again, as I said, you know, if you have any specific questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Any
Just one,
questions?
Eric. Yeah, just one. Does
Yeah.
the state impose a similar inventory system on state government?
Our state government is only best practices, I'm sure. I have no idea what they do. I'm sure that I think they have something for county governments. I don't know whether they have anything for boards of education as well. But we definitely have, you know, our best practices that we have to follow. So.
I think that was a rhetorical question.
Yeah, I don't really know the answer. So,
Well, if he's asking a rhetorical question, let me ask the rhetorical question for Bruce. Can you please inform him who started this best practice inventory?
No, that's a specific question.
Oh, but we all know the answer.
The legislation was passed, I think, like 15, 20 years ago. There was never anything done with it until under the Christie administration, when they finally followed the legislation that had been previously adopted. And I don't even know what year the legislation was adopted.
It was
No, it
under
was
the
Christie who
McGreevy. It
put
was
it
under
in.
the McGreevy administration.
But it was put in place by Chris Christie.
He
And
just
look where
started
he is today.
publicizing it. That was important to bring up, Joe.
Well, he asked the question. I wanted to, you know, throw the softball up there.
Next subject, Eric.
Next subject is a CARES grant, the use of some of our CARES grant money. Councilwoman Leosa suggested that we look at the possibility, which is suggested in the guidance from the U.S. Treasury Department, of using CARES grant money to provide grants to our businesses who may have lost revenue. The county had done something earlier. I think they I got the impression we were not allowed to do it locally. I think the county at least was dissuading us from doing it because they were doing a program, but we're allowed to. we're not allowed to. The use of the funds is okay, but it has to be approved by the county because we receive our CARES grant through the county. So I've already put the request into the county to see if they will authorize it. If they do, we want to be prepared because we're supposed to spend our CARES grant money this year. And so in talking with our auditor, we will need to have a program with criteria and systems in place so that if we get the approval from the county, we're able to implement it. There are several points in which we have some decision-making ability, in terms of who's eligible, how much money we're looking to grant, what the process would be. I'm looking to get direction from the council, or we will provide recommendations to the council, but since the council ultimately has to sign off on it, I don't know whether we want to go through it today. My suggestion would be that you sign it to a committee that can report back for the meeting on November 16th. By that time, I can work with that committee. We can have a recommendation. Given the types of questions that have been used for the
EDA.
The EDA, and I'm putting together an application which probably needs to go out before we finally approve the program, but it'll gather the information so that it can support a variety of different decisions based on exact eligibility requirements and how we do it. So, and of course, if we'd send it out, since we don't yet have approval from the county, it would certainly tell them it's contingent upon county approval, which is also what I'm telling you. We can do all the work we want, unless and until we get county approval on it, we cannot implement it. But I believe there's enough time for us to get this in place, get application forms out. We can mail them out to all of the businesses that we have in town. We have a list in the fire prevention office. Everybody that has a facility in town, because we inspect them. And we can make a due date of December 1st. Between then and now, we will have received approval from the county. We will have made our own decision, and then we can make our payments at the December 16th meeting. Anyway, that would be my recommendation is that the council president designate a committee to work on this. I guess it could be a regular council committee, but it doesn't really fit into any of the obvious categories. So maybe you want to set a special committee. But that's council business, so I'm not going to stick my nose too far into that.
So I guess the question is everyone in favor of exploring this option? That's why we brought it up for discussion. To me, it seems like a no-brainer. If it's a use it or lose it type situation for the grant money, I would be in favor of trying to get as much money towards our local small businesses as possible. That's why when Raina came up with the idea, I said, yeah, let's run with it as long as the county approves it. As long as all of our PPE and all of our purchases that we were using the money for have been purchased and made, that's the purpose of it. So if we have consensus that you want Eric to kind of follow up on this, we'll put something together such as a review committee and move forward with it.
Frank, I'd just like to say thank you to Raina for bringing this forward. I think it's also a great idea.
I was under the same
Okay.
impression that Eric was, that they originally told us that we had to spend it on money for strictly borough purchases, not sub grants like this. But then when Raina showed us the language that's in the CARES grant that we received from them, it seems pretty clear, but I don't know why we were kind of leaning or were told to stay away from it from the beginning.
I can't thank Councilwoman Leosa enough. I think this is fantastic. I have to tell you, I did look into it for an organization that I belong to, but actually one of the exemptions is if you sell Christmas trees, believe it or not, you're exempt from getting assistance from the CARE Act. And I have to tell you, I think there are businesses that are really hurting out there that could use assistance. I'd be honored to serve on a committee like this.
Well, and does anyone object to it?
Frank, where's the money coming from?
It would come out of that initial funding that the county gave us from the CARES Act, that original $1
How
million.
much is left?
About 450,000, or give or take. Yeah, right, Eric, around there.
I think we'll probably have between $300,000 and $400,000.
Okay.
So, we should plan on that amount of money. And one of my suggestions is you set them out. If it gets oversubscribed by the people who apply, then rather than try to do first come, first serve, you just, you scale back the awards proportionately so they get around. Because, if we're getting them with the state program, it was an online thing, so you could check the person who came in 5 seconds earlier might get it before somebody else. When we're dealing on the mail or people dropping off stuff, then it's when you open it, you could be in the middle of one day's mail and say we ran out of money. So, and that doesn't seem fair to me. So I think that it would be better to have a number that might be a little on the high side, given the amount of money that's available and the number of businesses who might apply, and then just scale it back a little bit or a lot. If we get 500 applications that are deemed eligible, then it might need to be scaled back a lot. But my guess is whatever number we pick, it will be a just somewhat a proportionate reduction rather than a total having it or anything. So.
Council
So
President.
you want to, I know you got Joe volunteered, council president. Do you want to?
I'll take care of it, Eric.
What?
I'll take care of it.
Okay. Great. And I look forward to working with I've already started working on an application. With the blessing of the council, I will send it out. We should have enough information that no matter how we decide to structure it, we'll have the information in order through the applications in order to make decisions based on whatever the council comes up with as a program.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll turn to old business. John, we'll start your way.
Thank you. Eric, I was just curious, did you have a chance to look into the quarterly financial reports that the council is supposed to get?
I thought they were placed in your boxes.
I didn't see
They were
anything.
not? Okay,
No.
I will check with our finance director, but they were supposed to go into the box. Okay.
All right. Also, did you have a chance to inquire with regard to the new, I guess, holes that were dug on Central Avenue between Royal and Hawthorne? Was it public service? Because they are sinking a little bit.
Yeah, they are public service, and anything that sinks, they will have to restore. So we will follow it up with them and make sure that we get them restored the way they should be.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Dominic.
I'm okay, Frank.
Bruce.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Eric, can you give us an update on the tree problems on 6th Ave and Victor Place?
Both of them are on the list. I don't know. I don't have a date yet into when they're actually going to be addressed by our contractor.
Well, with the high winds we've had this week, both residents expressed extreme concern to me. And, I'd kind of like to know when we're going to do something about it.
Okay. I mean, just so you know, there are, these trees are among dozens that we've had that are on the list that were determined by the arborist not to be emergency removals as necessary, because if they were, they would have been taken down, but there's things that need to be addressed. And we will certainly try to take care of all of those on the list, but I will see what we can do about pushing these up the list.
Yeah, because it's not an emergency until it happens, and we can't predict that. So that was the point the residents were making. So
Right.
if you'd look into it, I'll let them know that you're working on it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Eric, the one on Victor Place, there was a 5-inch limb that fell last week because it wasn't an emergency. If you happen to be walking by, you could have been hit by it. So since Bruce has brought it up and I have chimed in about it in our email sessions, a limb that was dangerously large has fallen. It's not just a twig.
Okay. Okay, I will follow up on it and make sure that both of those trees get addressed.
There has also been a thread on the Hawthorne community discussion page regarding shade tree communication issues and tree removals that people have talked about years of no response. Now, I don't know their issues firsthand, so I can't speak yes or no or whatever their issues are. But I don't know if anyone in the borough monitors those, but they kind of echo the slowness of response.
Well, again, if anybody who's listening, if there's a particular location where there's been a report,
They can't get through. They can't get through to shade
I
tree.
was going to say, call my office and I will make sure that it gets followed up on. If there's anybody listening on that, I will make sure it gets followed up on.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, for people who have reported stuff, I don't want the first call in, but if people have reported and they feel they have not received a response in a timely fashion, then please call my office.
Anything else, Bruce?
No, sir, that should do it for old business. Thank you.
Raina?
I have no old business, Council President. Thank you.
Mike?
Nothing tonight, Frank. Thank you very much.
Joe?
Sure, thank you. Just going back on a couple items. There was a sprinkler question from when we installed the speed monitor on Mohawk Avenue. We were talking about possibly correcting the sprinkler system for the resident when we dug up the right of way.
I will follow with Public Works.
And the road opening of Mohawk and North 14th Street.
I will check. I don't think there's been final restoration at that location, but
There hasn't. I'm just curious, where do we stand? I had made a couple suggestions in our phone conversations about having Smith Sondy come back and possibly do some work there because they did the initial work. They, 2 days after we paved the road, they dug up the road. So I just would like it back to where we were.
I will follow up with Public Works.
And then parking enforcement. Where, the 2 meetings ago, I was told that there's a new sheriff in town and that we're going to make sure that parking is being enforced. I'm very aware of COVID and where it's bringing us right now. But what are we doing with parking enforcement? Are we enforcing, not enforcing? Are we doing the street sweeping or not? I'm just curious where we are. If you want to say during heightened COVID times, we're not going to do parking enforcement, then let's not do street sweeping, because sending a street sweeper down the middle of the road, I think sends the wrong message. I'd rather send the message from the mayor on his biweekly address that we've suspended parking enforcement, we've suspended street sweeping, but to send it down the middle of the road and we have dirty roads, I think is sending, I don't know how administration feels about it, but I'd rather say that message than say, okay, we're gonna pick and choose what we're gonna do.
Well, you have to realize that a lot of the street sweep, there are places where there are no signs because there really has not been a perceived need to have a regulation of parking. There's places where we have signs where the people follow it, and we do get the streets swept. There's places where there's at best spotty compliance, and at least we get a little bit. There are a couple areas where are problematic. I've been talking with the police, and they will. And it's not just the street sweeping. When we get into leaf removal, when we get into snow removal, having those, those times when there's no cars there are valuable to us, and we need to have enforcement. And if people, and it's hard to be. And there with COVID, initially when almost everybody was home for a month or two, yeah, we called off. Enforcement, but at this point, when most people are back to work, or enough people are back to work that it's possible to move cars, that should not affect, whether it's a good idea to do enforcement. But I will continue to follow it up with the.
Look, I got to tell you that I don't want to take pictures and send them to you every time, you go up and down Lafayette Ave, it says no parking. There's a car right underneath the sign that says no parking. I'll show you the 3 cars that park every night at the corner of Warburton and Lafayette Ave. They're there. So please don't tell me that we're going to enforce it and then not. Let's just say we're not going to enforce it due to COVID. And then at least I have something to stand behind when the residents call me and say, we've been complaining, we've emailed the mayor, we've emailed Eric, and yet still the resident I'm talking about. He's diligent on making sure that we know that we're not street sweeping. And if you go there tonight, you drive around the McKinley Arms, it is not clean area. So if we could please, somebody had made the suggestion, I want to say, it was Council President Matthews, that we go along and sweep the streets by hand if we have to. But yet we still have the concern, which I understand.
Council President, don't we stop
Yes.
sweeping the streets after a certain time of the year?
Get into leaf season. We use the sweeper to help with the leaf
Right.
cleanup. We also have the people that becomes our. When the weather is freezing, we do not do street sweeping. But because during those times, having cars moved during time helps us get the leaves up, helps us get the snow plowed. We don't want to say, okay, from November to March, you don't have to obey the rules, because in many places, those rules are necessary for us to complete other public services effectively.
I hate to say it then, can I please have a list of parking enforcement that we've done for the last 2 weeks?
Yes.
Could I see that?
I forgot to I'd gotten a report from the police. I forgot to distribute it, and I will get it to you.
Thank you very much.
It's not on the last 2 weeks, it's on the previous 2 weeks, but I will get it to you.
All I'm asking for is for the street sweeper to go. And in order to get the street sweeper to go on the street, we need to make sure that the cars are not parked where it says no parking. So if we can get the streets, I'm done.
I understand what the problem is, and I acknowledge that there has been a problem with the getting the enforcement as the street sweeper's coming. I don't think the solution is to stop both of them. I think the solution is to make sure we do it right.
Nothing further, Council President.
Make it so. Joe? How about any new business?
It's new old business, but it is still new business because I'm sure if you were on Community Facebook, I'm sorry, that's Bailey. She had new business. So I will tell you that I did have a very long conversation with Lieutenant Carr, and I thank him so much for calling me. I do want to thank my neighbors in the area of Ward
Captain
1
Carr.
District. Captain Carr. I do want to thank, well, they did tell me the lieutenant was going to call me back, so
Okay.
So we're having we had the last 3 days, North Haledon has been using our range. We've been getting a lot of complaints about the noise that's coming off of the range. I did inform those who did call me that Michael Pasquale has a deal in the making with the Bedrin Associates that we're going to have some noise reduction due to the deal that was made down there, that we're going to have that. But in the meantime, they are not happy. Even after I had the conversation with Captain Carr, I mean, it went until actually the time I was dialing in, the gun noise was really loud. So
What time was that?
I dialed in at 6:55. So it's very loud. He says that North Haledon is there. My only concern, and if I could say that we get anything back from it, at least I would feel that we were moving forward. We don't get anything from North Haledon. We don't get anything from Haledon. They use our range, and it's a mutual aid agreement. And I have to tell you that for 2021, I hope that we somehow reap a benefit of any form from the utilization from our area police departments utilizing our range. And I can tell you that all we are doing right now is hearing loud explosions. I know that I received a call from somebody on 6th Avenue who was telling me, she heard it at her house. They were putting off some serious, I could ask my son what level they were putting out because he's in ordnance, but I'll tell you, it was some really loud gunfire. Either that or it was really Patterson having some really good gunfire, one or the other.
Mr. President, I'd just like to chime in again what Councilman Wotecki said. Eric, when the police department reconstructed and redid the entire range, I thought there was supposed to be a schedule of dollars that we were supposed to collect from any municipality or any police department that we're going to use our range, so that would help us alleviate the cost of our police buying ammunition, bullets, and any other items that we need to maintain that range. Is that in force right now? Is there a schedule of dollars that each department or each person from each department must pay?
Your mic's mute.
No, we don't have that in place now, to my knowledge, but we'll review it with the police and the attorney, and we'll make sure we get something ready. And if it needs council action, we'll bring it to you.
Well, Eric, that it's almost 9 months old since the range was done, was rehabbed and basically brought up to state standard. What took it so long? What's taking it so long?
We weren't letting other agencies use our range. My guess is with a change in administration of the police department, they reached out to the new chief. When the Passaic County Police Academy uses our range, they remediate our lead in exchange for using the range. So we are reaping benefits from certain agencies. I think for the longest time, we've had nobody there but ourselves. And now apparently we're opening up. So we do have to visit that whole aspect of fees, because we have costs that are associated with upkeeping the range. And it's
Now, how
only
about the
fair that
range?
everybody uses it. What's that?
Well,
Well, I'm just concerned you had the range master working. Today is Wednesday. He was there Monday. He was there Tuesday. He was there Wednesday. You're going to have next week, you're going to have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Haledon is moving in. So you had North Haledon the last 3 days. You're having Haledon the next 3 week or the next 3 days during the next week. Who's paying the salary of the police officer that's going to be
Joe,
there?
I don't know that these agencies aren't covering the cost of our range master, but that's something Eric can find out and get you an answer to.
Look, I don't mind telling the neighbors, look, we're being neighborly. We're letting Haledon, North Haledon, who will come in an emergency, practice using their rifles, their bombs, whatever they're setting off. But right now, all we're doing is incurring complaints. Look at Facebook community. You know, you'll see it. Everybody was bashing it that there was, you know.
I understand, but then
It sounded-
our residents drive through North Haledon and Haledon, and I'd rather have a trained police force than have people with no training stopping my residents. So there's a benefit to us to
I don't
make
know.
sure the
I
department.
usually agree with you.
around us
I
are
usually
trained.
agree with you, Mayor, but you don't got me on that one. Look, it sounded like Afghanistan down here. You know, I'll have a conversation with my son who's away in the military. It don't sound like this. You know, it sounds nice. You're on the conversation. I'm in Hawthorne. It sounds like I'm in Afghanistan.
All right, well, like you had mentioned earlier, Joe, some of the settlement with the bedroom property was for sound baffling. And obviously it doesn't help us now, but I don't know who's in charge of the design of how we baffle the noise from the range, but I do know that there are monies that are allocated for that. Mike, can you chime in on how that will be accomplished in the future?
Yeah, we hired a sound consultant who came in and gave us a series of recommendations that would include the biggest offender down there. And what you're hearing is when there's rifle. The pistols, you don't hear nearly so much, but the rifle is one of the big culprits, let's say. So we are going to be requiring, as part of the protocol, muffling on all the weapons that are being discharged. We're going to put up some sound walls and sound barriers. This is not going to happen overnight. It's a $200,000 price tag, quite honestly, but we did negotiate as part of the settlement of our affordable housing litigation, that payment from the bedroom organization. We will be doing it on our end with the sound consultant we hired in Dr. Boswell's office.
Is there a rough time frame on when we think that will that be like a springtime construction project, just so these people have an idea of when there might be an end in sight for some reduction?
We are under the impression that the bedroom organization is going to be looking to pull permits to build as early as the end of this year. They will receive no permits unless they put their money on the table. So once we have the money in hand, we'll plot it out. And my guess is it's a springtime project.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if that's going to satisfy anyone, but at least it's a time frame for when something should happen.
Michael, I don't think that's a priority for bedroom, though, is it? Hey, fix our rifle, our range.
No, we're going to be fixing it. It's a priority for him to get a building permit. And if he can't get a building permit unless he pays us, then he'll pay us.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Joe?
The other item for new business, I have discussed this with Michael Pasquale, is that I am taking a leave of absence for 90 days from the Hawthorne Fire Department due to the fact that I do not feel comfortable responding to any non-emergent meeting or drills. I have been in the past responding to emergency. I apologize. The dogs are really going at it together. But I have to be honest, I don't, especially with the COVID the way it is right now, I don't feel comfortable, and I was told that I have to take a leave of absence. I don't know how that affects me voting wise, but I am.
You're still a member of the department, Joe. You're just going to be on a agreed to leave. And my understanding is appropriately, Chief Speranza is recognizing a leave of absence to members who feel that they should want to take one during this time, given where you work, what you do. And my understanding that there are live body meetings versus virtual meetings, which may in fact be necessary for the Corps. You're taking a leave makes good sense.
That is all I have, Council President.
Okay, Mike. New business.
I have nothing tonight, Council President. Thank you.
Rena.
I did want to congratulate Mike and all those who did actively participate in the election process. Mike, congratulations on your win.
Thank you, Joe.
Rena.
I have no new business, but also sentiments. Congratulations, Mike, and thank the other two candidates that ran for running and doing the best that you could. Wish you all guys all the best in the future. And that's it that I have, Council President.
Bruce.
Yes, Council President, just to piggyback on what Joe was talking about earlier. I grew up in Patterson, so I don't mind the sound of gunfire. But when it comes to mutual aid agreements, I don't know who negotiates them, but they do seem awful one-sided and not in Hawthorne's favor. And it's not just the police department. Look at how much time our fire apparatus spends in the city of Patterson. And what do we get in return from Patterson? So I just thought I'd bring that up. Somebody needs to look at these mutual aid agreements. And I think Hawthorne needs to get more out of the deal than they're getting.
We need to have bigger fires, Bruce, in order to have Patterson come. I'd rather not have the fires and not have Patterson come.
I'd rather not have our apparatus spending time in Patterson because we're paying the bill for it to support a paid fire department. Does that make sense?
I don't disagree, except when we've had fires, the large fires here, the 5 and 10 or whatever, Patterson has come. When we had the dump truck through the house, Patterson came to secure the house and the dump truck. So they do come. You may not see them, but we do go there more than they come here. More times than not, we're sitting in their station on standby rather than actively fighting a fire. But this is the Passaic County Mutual Aid Agreement.
Well, it's still wear and tear on our equipment and we foot the bill for that. So that's all I have.
Dominic.
I'm okay, Frank. Thank you.
John.
I'm good. No, thank you.
Okay. I have no new business tonight, so we'll turn to administrative agenda presented by Mayor Goldberg.
Thank you, Council President. I too want to add my congratulations to Mike and to Anthony, Joe, and Alma for winning their elections. Also, we need to congratulate those candidates who ran for office but weren't successful. I appreciate their desire to serve the public, and I hope the public appreciates the fact that they're willing to put themselves out there to serve the public. No one is getting rich being a school trustee or a councilman, and it's really because you have a love of the town, a love of people that you do this. So I appreciate everybody who runs, because they take a lot of time from their own private lives in order to try to become part of our community at large. So congratulations to everyone, those who were successful and those who weren't successful. You're to be congratulated as well. Just a reminder that the tax quarter ends on November 10th. If you haven't paid your taxes, in order to avoid interest, please make your payments before that time. Borough Hall will be closed in observance of Veterans Day on November 11th, but please join us in the morning at 11 a.m. in front of Borough Hall for the borough's Veterans Day service. And then that afternoon at 1 p.m., we'll dedicate a portion of 3rd Avenue at Ray in memory of aviation machinist mate 3rd class Theodore Noonan, was killed in action on June 26, 1945. Last year, I urged you not to come to the Veterans Day service. This year, we're allowed to have up to 500. I really don't want to have that many because I like everybody socially distanced, but certainly you're invited to come, and we hope to see you at the Veterans Day service. Borough will host Shred Day event this Saturday, November 7th from 9 to noon. There's a limit of 3 boxes per resident. I am working on plans for COVID-19 tree lighting that will keep us all safe. Details for that will follow. It is scheduled for December 4th. And as I'm sure you've been made aware of, our numbers have been increasing with the COVID virus. So please remember to socially distance, wash your hands, and wear a mask. I'd like to drive our numbers back to where they were for a long time at below 10 cases. I think we're up to about 37 as of this morning. I now call upon Michael Pasquale for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for inviting me to the Joe and Eric show. Glad somebody else gets to speak a little bit. I want to congratulate Michael on his victory and election. He and Raina, frankly, have come into the council and brought a great new energy and different ideas. And it's just great to always have people willing to work. And so welcome back, Michael, and look forward to 3 more years of working with you. Brookside Avenue, I do want to report that I was advised that a lawsuit was filed. I have not seen it yet, but I was advised that the brother of the individual who has been the occupant of that property has filed an action with the borough's encouragement to force the sale of that property. Once we get that property into someone else's hands, it will be fixed up. Relying on this owner to fix up the property is just not going to happen. We continue our enforcement efforts, but again, our real hope is to get the property redeveloped. And all I can do is keep saying to the people in that neighborhood, bear with it. We are working on it. On your agenda tonight is R130. It's a liquor license application. This is a person-to-person and place-to-place transfer of the liquor license that was formerly at RD Vendors, owned by a company called RURRF, and it's selling to RBRRR LLC. Don't know why the names, but it's going to be a business that Dr. John Gregg is the principal of. It is going to be operated at 142 Goffel Road, which is the site of a number of prior operations. The property is obviously already set for that. You've probably seen the name Stella and Danny's, and that will be the name of it. So we have reviewed the application for transfer. There was an issue which we made the council aware of with regard to some lien issues and tax payments. That's been cleaned up, and we're all satisfied. So Lori, Lieutenant Hoogwood, and I all would give our recommendations for approval tonight, and hopefully you'll see fit to pass that. And finally, I do want to say that today, I know the mayor, and I'll comment on this, there are new rules that are coming out for restaurants, and in particular, those that have liquor licenses. I know Lori reached out to all of her liquor license holders today to let them know that if they have extended premises permits, they have an opportunity now to renew those through the end of March. The mayor sent a letter to all the restaurant owners in town, or is sending one out, that will explain some of the rules, including the rules with regard to tents and heaters, important things, and they need to work with Gene DeAugustinis in our building department. We continue to support our local businesses and our restaurants in particular, and I want to thank the mayor, Lori, Gene, and all those who helped to put this together. And that, Mayor, concludes my report.
Thank you, Michael. One of the things we're concerned about on that letter going into winter is snow loads on top of tents. We want to make sure that the tents can withstand the weight of snow that may happen on top of that. So that's one of the areas where we're fairly concerned about, and I'll let the restaurant owners know. Speaking of snow loads, I call upon my borough engineer, Steve Boswell, for his report.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Mike, my congratulations also on your victory yesterday. The 2020 road improvement program on Barker Avenue, as you know, we had a conflict with some of the utilities. Some gas lines were not where they were shown by the mark out. So we have redesigned that drainage to get around that, and we're going to get a revised cost from the contractor. Don't expect it to be very significantly different. The 2020 municipal aid project, which is Parmley Avenue, we have finished the job. The DOT has been asked to come out to do their surveillance report, and we've also asked Key Tech to do their core tests. The Hawthorne Library lighting improvements, we still cannot get an answer back as to whether or not we're getting a grant. I can assure you that Ed Sankovich tries 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to get an answer, and he just can't get an answer from anyone. The DPW trench drain was installed on Saturday, October 24th. Estimate number 1 was submitted in the amount of about $8,500. It will be the only estimate. The only thing left would be release of the retainage on that was done for the number as quoted. The municipal building north section roof replacement. We received 3 quotes, and this is not a typo, and your hearing is not off when I tell you the 3 numbers. Hegeman Roofing was $27,000. Pano Roofing was $34,000, and JP Patty was $134,000. So we decided not to give it to JP Patty. We thought that was a little steep. There is a difference between Hegeman and Pano. Pano was going to use a TPO membrane system. Hegeman's going to use a Polara built-up system with an aluminum base. The TPO system has a 15-year warranty. The built-up has a 20-year warranty. So we recommended today to Eric that you use the built-up system, which begins, by the way, with a layer of aluminum anyway. The built-up system and save you $7,000 and get a warranty for 5 years longer than on the TPO system. The indoor air quality study, we did an initial investigation of the 4 buildings that we're looking at, which are the municipal building, the library, the ambulance corps, and the Rescue 5 building. That was conducted on Tuesday, October 27th, and we're going to have a report on that coming forward. And then finally, the Washington Hawthorne Avenue sanitary sewer improvements. We met with the DPW to investigate the issue, and now we're designing the plans and the specs for that. And just to let you know, you may not need plans and specs for this because the cost may be under the bid threshold. We'll talk to Eric about that, but it's still a good idea to have the specs produced so we can use them for any of these going forward, whether it be a situation where we have to bid or a situation where we can actually get prices. And other than that, Mayor, I'll just answer any questions anyone has.
Thank you, Steve. And now for his brief report is Borough Administrator Eric Mauer.
It'll be so
You're on
brief
mute,
that I won't even turn on my microphone. I also want to offer my congratulations to Mike Sciarra. I look forward to working with you more over the next several years. What I've been doing the past couple of weeks is finishing up on the best practices inventory and some of the follow-up work with that, including specifically a cybersecurity response plan. There will be a few things that come out of that that I will review with the IT committee, and there may be some, even though the plan doesn't require expenditure of money, there may be some things that have been identified that will be worth investing in, and we can discuss that with the IT committee prior to doing next year's budget. Speaking of next year's budget, that's underway. The department heads are working on their budgetary requests. And we will have departmental hearings right after Thanksgiving in order to be able to present a budget to the council next year. I've also been working with staff on the new phone system and how to set it up in terms of call groups and call director system. So when we install that, it will work better than and more friendly to the public than our current system. And then finally, the CARES grant, the small business program that Miranda suggested. I've been working on that and will continue to work on that and make that happen. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Eric. Council President will be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the administration?
Yes,
I
Mr.
have none,
President.
John, we'll start with you.
Okay. Michael? Pasquale?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, thank you. Brookside Ave, you had mentioned the possibility of the lawsuit. Do you have any idea how long the process may take versus other lawsuits that sometimes take years?
If the lawsuit is brought in the manner of what's called a partition action, which is filed by way of an order to show cause, a judge will hear it on an emergent basis. The fact that there are significant unpaid taxes and that there is a need to move urgently could result in a judge getting this ordered within months rather than years. So my expectation is it could move rather quickly. I know quick is a relative term in the legal world, but I'm thinking more months than years, John.
Thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Joe?
No, Council President, I said I had nothing. Thank you.
Oh, anyone else? Rena?
Just wanted to follow up with you, Steve, on the indoor air with the buildings, with the assessment. Do you see any of the recommendations that we need to possibly purchase equipment, or we can just tweak what we have? Can you give any ideas of recommendations to that report?
I'll probably have something for you in one more week, Raina.
Okay.
I understand the urgency with which we're trying to do stuff. And Eric's direction is that the purchase of equipment, unfortunately, it's not enough to just encumber the funds and issue a purchase order. Apparently, you actually have to get the equipment. But that's going to be an issue on any HVAC equipment because the lead time on most of it is longer than between now and the end of the year anyway.
No, I agree with you. That was a concern. And that's also with the CARES Act. That's why I was asking questions about if we could do a PO and get the goods and materials next year. But the way the CARES Act is written, you have to spend everything.
Right. And
Just
I
so you
don't,
know, a conversation I had with the county administrator, so there may be some relaxation on that on the strict deadline, or maybe even an outright extension of the deadline. And even if that doesn't happen, there is a round 2 of funding. If it doesn't get in round 1, we will have done the work, and then we will do the equipment in round 2. So I'm confident that one way or another we can move forward with this. Exactly how and when may depend a little bit upon these administrative details of the CARES grant. But
yeah, it would be really nice if they changed the rules, which would make the most sense, which is if you issue a purchase order, you've encumbered the funds, but that's our understanding is that is not how the rules are currently written, which is unfortunate. Because this equipment, I mean, HVAC equipment lead time can be 2 and 3 months to get it manufactured. So it kind of is foolish to offer money out there without giving a realistic opportunity to utilize that funding. But as
No,
Eric said,
I understand that. Yeah. Well, Eric, so this phase 2, are you talking about the next COVID stimulus package out of the federal government that they're trying to get through lame duck now?
Current money.
Through that?
There's
my
current.
understanding is there's CARES money that's already been approved for a phase 1 and a phase 2. And the county may, I'm trying to get confirmation, the county may even have the money or the authorization for the money for the phase 2, but it just has to wait till next year. I don't have the details on that, but
Okay.
so
because the law is
I
pretty
just don't
clear,
know.
it's written. Yeah. It would make total sense that you could do that because they're expenditures for capital, but you're dealing with the federal government, so. Thanks. That's it that I have.
Frank,
Yes, Dominic.
have you heard about, did we ever get an open spaces grant this year, Eric?
They didn't award any grants this year. They're taking it to anyone. They sent out a questionnaire and basically asked if we want to put in anything new. They're expecting to do 2 years worth of funding next year. I'm hoping that means we have an opportunity for 2 grants. We have 2 applications in, but they haven't made a decision on specific projects, but they do have 2 years worth of funding that they will allocate next year. So there was nothing allocated this year, but the money stays in the trust fund and until they award it to people who are committed for their own purposes. But they're planning to do a double allotment next year.
Okay, thank you.
Eric, what was the rationale of them not doing any projects this year?
Well, I think everybody was closed down with the COVID so that they weren't meeting and that they didn't think any projects would happen in the middle of COVID. I think that was the rationale why they didn't do any this year.
This would have been the perfect time to do the projects during COVID, because if it's like an outdoor project, like if we were going to do the pool lighting, like we asked for our submission, you got 2 electricians working outside. It's the perfect project.
Oh, yeah, there's at least one other issue that I think may have impacted it that I really don't want to talk about publicly, but I'll give you a call later.
Okay, no problem.
They haven't said that that's publicly, but I think that it may be have as much to do with it as COVID. And it just,
My only concern is that you're going to stockpile their money, and another municipality is going to do a large project, and there goes 2 years worth of funding when we're trying to do a small project, and we've already been rejected the previous year for small funding.
can't guarantee you what the outcome is. All I know is that they're planning to do 2 years of funding. They asked if our applications were still good, and if the priority remained the same, and it sounded like there's at least a good chance that they will do in 2 years what they would have otherwise done in 1 year. But they didn't say that any particular projects have been approved.
Don't hold your breath.
Don't worry, I'm not.
Any other questions for the administration or the county? Seeing none, can I have a motion to record the administrative agenda?
So moved.
Motion.
Motion by Bennett, second by Witecki. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have introduction of ordinances. We have none this evening. We have resolutions. We have consent agenda R121-20 through R130-20. R121-20 is the fire department clothing allowance. R122-20 is the dedication by rider. R123-20 is overpayment of taxes. R124-20 is the HPD participation in Defense Logistics Agency. R125-20 is adopt the 2020 hazard mitigation plan update. R126-20 is approve the sale of Tower 2 to the Borough of Little Falls. R127-20 is engineering services to prepare the stormwater pollution prevention plan. R128-20 is to approve domestic violence response plan for employees. R29-20 is purchase order for the mobile signs under the CARES Act. And R130-20 is a liquor license transferred for the new restaurant at 142 Goffle Road. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Motion by Bennett, second by Sierra. Any discussion?
Now, Mike, just to clarify, I'm not allowed to vote on that, right?
You're not allowed to vote on the sale of the fire engine. That's correct.
I know about 120 because I'm listed.
Sorry, the ladder truck. I apologize.
How about me, since I brokered the deal?
You can because you were disqualified from getting any cut.
I didn't get my commission.
Yeah, you get no commission.
I did it out of the goodness of my heart. Any other questions?
I have a question, Council President.
Yes, Raina.
A quick question, Mike, for that approval of the sale, we are giving like indemnification, like it's as is the fire truck, right? The fire truck ladder, they're responsible for everything, right? Like we
Yeah,
have some kind of indemnify us.
Yeah, it's strictly an as-is sale. Once they take title, we bear no responsibility.
Okay, great. Thank you for that confirmation.
So just to clarify, they're going to put that fire truck in full operation as a frontline piece of apparatus.
No, it's a secondary tower truck. And I do believe within the agreement, we have a mutual aid arrangement with them in case we need a secondary tower during a fire. We get the use of it to fight our fire if we need it, Bruce.
I'm Joe, and you never cease to amaze me, Council President.
No, I realize you asked it, Joe, but mutual aid arrangements was a bone of contention for Councilman Bennett. So I really had to work hard and haggle and bend their elbow to get that part of the deal in.
Look at you. Very good, Council President.
However, I asked for $1 million, but they didn't want to pay for it. Roll call.
Bennett,
Yes.
Fiosa,
Yes.
Lane,
Abstain on 121-20 and 126-20, and yes on all others.
thank you. Mealy,
Yes.
Kiara,
Yes.
Wateki,
Abstain on the fire department too, and yes on all others.
Matthews.
They got to do the clothing allowance.
I did that.
Yes, he abstained on that, John.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
What?
So I'm sorry, just to clarify, 121, 124, 126.
Anything that the fire department is listed, I'm abstaining.
For Councilman Lane and Councilman Wateki.
124 is the police department.
124 they're okay on. Just
Oh, I'm sorry.
121 and
121 and
126.
126.
Okay, got it. Joe said 124.
I didn't say anything.
I'm playing.
I said I abstain on the fire department. That's all I said.
I know.
He doesn't get it, Lori.
President Matthews, did I call you?
No.
President Matthews?
Yes on
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, we're good. Motion carries. Thank you.
Off cassette, we have the R131-20 budget transfers. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Lane, second by Sierra. Skiera.
What is it?
Inside joke.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Roll call.
Wateki?
Yeah.
Sierra?
Yes.
It's ski with like a ski.
Incorrect though, but yes.
I say ski.
Yara. We'll get you guys trained eventually.
Okay. Mealy,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Reports of special council committees. Joe, will start your way.
All right, Shade Tree Commission met on Monday. Chairwoman Drea is planning on making a presentation, so I do not want to mention anything that she does want to present to the council at the next meeting. So I'll leave it at that. So she is going to be in contact. One other thing, she is asking that I do thank Council President Matthews. You are the only person who did reply. She is asking to have an off meeting prior to the meeting. She did send 2 meeting requests via emails and nobody responded. So I do thank you, Frank, for responding, but Eric and Mayor, if you'd be kind enough to please respond.
We did
The other item-
respond through my assistant, Joe. And so, because we got the complaint, we didn't respond, but both Eric and I responded through Ellen Brogdon. So we have responded.
All right, so we did discuss it.
The Drea's
Well, I
email
don't
or
think-
the resident?
To Drea's email saying she wanted a meeting. Ellen responded for both Eric and I.
Honestly, we didn't get it because we did discuss it on Monday night, that Frank was the only one who did respond.
Did that,
Joe,
yeah,
she said
maybe
that-
Ellen,
Did you send an invite to all the council? Because I didn't get anything.
No, it was
No.
Council President Matthews, Eric, and the mayor, myself, to have a meeting with the arborist to discuss the concerns that they would like to discuss at her presentation.
Okay, thank you.
maybe they didn't.
I
hit
will check our email and have Ellen respond to Drea tomorrow then.
I do know she is going on vacation, so not that I should be putting that out there. I apologize. Thank you, Michael. I saw your face. The second I saw your face, I was like, oh, poop. All right. The other thing I do want to mention, we did have a resignation on the Shade Tree Commission. So we are looking for another Shade Tree person to join our organization. Mayor,
Well,
I
when
do
you
know
say
that-
we're looking, actually, I'm looking because that's my appointment. So if someone has a desire to serve on the Shade Tree Commission, they can call my administrative assistant, Ellen Brogno, at 973-427-1168. Last time I checked, Joe, I still appoint the commissioners.
I do apologize. I didn't see you at the last meeting, Mayor.
Now, move on.
I have nothing else to report. Thank you.
Michael Sciarra.
Thank you, Council President. As far as the library board, the meeting will be on Tuesday, November 10th, instead of Wednesday, the 11th, because that is Veterans Day and the library will be closed. So again, next library meeting will be on November 10th, a Tuesday. As of school boards, first I want to congratulate all the winners of the school board. The projected winners right now look like Anthony Palouse, Joe Carr, and Alma Morel. Congratulations to all of them and everybody else that put their name forward. Again, me being a former school board trustee, I know it's labor of love. You got to love to do it, and you get nothing for it. We appreciate everybody to keep putting their name out there, and please just keep in touch and keep going. As far as the school board itself, they recently had a COVID positive case, and they did some contract tracing in with conjunction of the local health department that we required quarantine of numerous students and staff, both at the high school and the middle school. They've consulted with the local public health nurse and the local health department with the current positive cases and precautions are moving forward. As a result of these conversations, the current increase in cases across the state and the recent positive COVID cases at the school, all Hawthorne public schools will participate in remote learning it started on October 29th, and it's going to continue on to November 11th. And then additionally, they're going to look at this again, and their projected opening is on November 12th, but they will continue monitoring with the local health department to see how the trends move. And lastly, the next school board meeting is scheduled for November 17th at 7 p.m. at the high school auditorium. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mike. Raina.
I have no report to provide. Thank you.
Bruce.
Nothing to report at this time, Council President.
Dominic.
This time I have nothing to report.
John.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank the public for their patience with our cable TV new install. It took a little bit longer than normal. We're up and running tonight on both Channel 28 and Channel 77. Our equipment is all state of the art, so we should have no interference at all from going forward. So I just wanted to express myself and the committee's concerns with regard to thanking you for your patience. I do have an ordinance committee meeting set for this Tuesday, be virtual. We have a number of proposed ordinances to review, and I'll have a better report at the next meeting. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
Mr. President, can I ask a clarifying question? Does the school board meet in person?
I do not know.
Do you want me to answer that? I can answer what the last two meetings were in person at the auditorium, social distance. I don't know what the requirements they have. I can tell you the last meeting, I was the only public that came to the meeting. If that helps. I think before that, there might have been 2 or 3. I think Monroe was there at one time, and maybe three other people were there. There's not a, it's a big place, the auditorium, and they had a few. So I'm just giving you to answer your question, Joe.
No. I'm curious because I just find it the irony in the fact that they have the students at home, but they're meeting in person.
Well, this would be the first meeting they had since that COVID case, and they did it remote. So they might change it by that time, but I looked on their website to verify it, and it is still stated at the auditorium. So if there could be a change where they may go remote because the school has been closed. So I'm not really sure.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. The only report I have to report is the Chamber of Commerce wishes to thank everyone who supported the farmers market. They wish to be back next year, and thank you everyone who supported them. As Eric said, from the Finance Committee point, they're starting to prepare the department budgets, and next thing you know, we'll be starting to get together and start on next year's budget. So with that said, we'll move from that to correspondence. C1, we have a new fire applicant, Jose Corrales, for fire company number 3. Can I have a motion to
So moved.
accept? Motion by
Second.
Bennett. Second by Mealy. Any discussion? Thank you, Jose, for volunteering. Roll call.
Bennett,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Lane,
Abstain?
Mealy,
Yes.
Ciara,
Yes.
Witecki,
Abstain.
Matthews.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Bills. Can I have a motion to approve the bills and forward them to the treasurer for payment?
So moved.
So moved.
Motion by Bennett, second by Sciarra. Any discussion? Roll call.
Witecki,
Yes. Abstain on the fire department. Yes on all others.
Ciara,
Abstain on EWMA, yes on all others.
Mealy,
Yes.
Lane,
Abstain on the fire department and the ambulance corps, yes on all others.
Leosa,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Public comment. I'll now open the meeting to the public. If anyone desires to be heard, please call in at 312-757-3121, access code 472-199-829. Or you can use the chat feature if you're already logged on to the meeting, or you can email the clerk at lfernandez@hawthornenj.org. We'll start with the people that are online with us now. We have a question from Melissa Lambert at 185 Second Ave. Has there been any progress on the body cameras for the police department? Eric, can you please provide an update? I know there was some legislation that was passed that the governor vetoed. Did that have any effect on our police department's plan? I know we were
It
Underground
doesn't,
or home.
no, I don't think it directly affects anything. I know that there have been issues with the company that took over the company that had originally supplied us our body cameras. I know the police department's looking on it. I don't have a specific report right now, but we can get some information together for the council.
Can we get a report for the next meeting?
I'll see, we'll get some kind of report and I don't know what how much detail it will have at that point.
Is there a reason?
I don't know how much information we will have. As I said, we can make a report. I just don't know how complete it will be because I don't know how much information we'll have together.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, that takes care of Melissa. Craig, you're next. The floor is yours, Craig.
Thank you, Council President. Craig Cayetano, 59 Pasadena Place.
Thank you.
Is there an update on any of the speeding possible limitations on these county roads? I know that Councilman Lane was working on something. Just want to know if there's any progress.
Yeah, yes, we have an
Craig,
ordinance meeting on the 10th.
Great, good to hear. And one more thing about the street sweeper. I've had a lot of friends in Jersey City, and what they do is they get a lot of notifications the day that the street sweeper is coming out in like their ward or their zone or whatever. As a start, can we just like start nixling out? You know, this is like we do for some of the trash and recycling, like Ward 1, Zone 1. I don't know how we do it, but is there a way to at least start building that up first and then start maybe implementing some sort of ticketing process? I think if we give a little bit of a week or two warning, maybe that'll get people in the rhythm to realize that it is serious and they should move their cars.
I believe on some of the things, the police did give warnings before they started parking enforcement. We have so many different areas, so many different signage to be, it's basically follow the signage. There won't be the sweeping right now because of the leaf season. But the enforcement really needs to pick up, especially when we get into the street sweeping season in the spring. But we'll look at whether we can couple that with Nixle messages.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's all.
Fair enough. Does anyone else wish to be heard? Kevin.
Hello, Kevin Bergen, 335 Central Ave. I want to congratulate everybody who ran and won. Mr. Sierra, my queen, Dr. Morell. It was so much fun for me. That was amazing. So I'm just humbled. And I can attest to the mayor's call for social distancing and masks. Where I work for the Department of Health in Staten Island, we have everybody coming in who is testing positive. So please just maintain what we've been doing, I think. Another thing I want to bring up, which does not bring me satisfaction, contrary to popular belief, but on October 24th, it's a Sunday, a motorist was stopped by Officer Vega, and it just escalated very quickly, and he was assaulted, and his mother-in-law had reached out to me because I had tweeted it out. And I know she was looking for a lawyer and this is not to start anything, this is just to keep y'all in the know about it. And we've been in contact almost every week. I can show you the video. It's pretty much everywhere. It's funny because I invited y'all to this theater piece on de-escalation, which I didn't even like. It was very the bad apples argument, which I don't even agree with. It's a systemic issue, but you guys would have liked it. But it's funny because that was the week before this happened, and then this happened, and it was like, whoa, you know what I mean? So maybe I'm just saying this into the void, or maybe I'm just saying it to put it on the record. And I agree with the President Matthews that this is not a racist town. It's a piece of land, so it can't be. People feel emboldened to do this stuff here. I mean, also like we had a vigil months ago, and somebody passed by while one of our speakers were speaking, and he threw up like a white supremacist hand signal. That's just, like I said, this is not a racist town. I truly don't believe that, but people feel emboldened to do that kind of stuff here. And they see these things that happen. I got many comments and people reached out about how Hawthorne is the don't drive while you're black town. And I really don't want, it's my hometown. I don't want that to be the case. And I think none of you do, but I just wanted to put that out there. Please comment. I know you probably want to comment, but thank you.
Kevin, I saw that video, and Officer Vega was assaulted. He went to the hospital. And this isn't a joke. So if you want to call in and participate, you got to take things serious.
This is serious.
Yeah, well, you had your turn. So he went to the hospital with gouges to his face. And if he would have just supplied his documents like the standard police procedure is, he would have been told what he did. And what he did was he sped out onto Lincoln Ave where he made his, no, put your hand down. He sped out onto Lincoln Ave where his tires screeched, and that's why he was stopped. It was really just a reckless driving thing, and he would have been told that. But our police and all police in the state of New Jersey ask for your license, registration, and insurance before they tell you. They can choose to tell you, but that's the procedure. And you know who is the most trained officer in our police department on de-escalation training? Officer Vega. So don't sit here and tell us about how Black people fear to be in Hawthorne driving, because he's a Hispanic officer, so it's not a white on black issue. And I'm glad you said you don't think Hawthorne's a racist town, because you and I are in agreement on that. But this issue was on Facebook, and I would say that you were called out for comments that you made on his Instagram, the offender's Instagram account, for comments you made on the same thread. So I commend you for running for the Board of Education and putting your name out there. And before you signed on, you would have heard me compliment you before I had to dress you down on your racist comments that you're making now and insulting Officer Vega. Next comment.
Thank you for your congratulatory.
Well, I really sincerely did congratulate you before, but you stir the pot every time, Kevin.
I don't mean to, and I really like you. I think we should grab a beer sometime, to be quite honest.
And regarding your invitation, you weren't on the call last meeting, but Mrs. I don't know how to pronounce her name, Abershaw.
Ahmedi.
And she said she was going to give us alternate dates of the FaceTime call or whatever the Black Lives, Blue Lives Matter was. And we all said we would make an attempt to try and attend it as well. So we just couldn't do it that Saturday. And we all gave various reasons why we were not around at that time. And Craig, I think, was the only one on the call that could vouch for what we said where we were. But I have no problems with going to things. I went to the other event, the Pride event, and you looked at me and said, "What are you doing here?"
I didn't say that. I said I was surprised.
And what did I tell you? I said I support everyone in our town. So it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, gay, straight. I love everybody in our town, and that's why I get so upset and passionate about the comments that you make in generalities. And I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't care to share things that I think that we could work on.
I agree.
Well, sorry if I get passionate.
Sorry if I get passionate. I love you, Frank.
That's okay. I love you too, Kevin. So anyway, Cindy Frank would like to speak next.
Hi.
Hi, Cindy.
I just want to say, so I heard you talking about the Open Space Committee, and I'm on that. So if I can shed any light, you're correct. They did combine the 2 years, 2020 and 2021, but they are on an accelerated path. So the freeholders should be announcing the grant recipients by early next year. So it's not like you have to wait. I don't know if there was confusion, but you don't have to wait another entire grant cycle for that. So they'll be awarding whatever you applied for 2020 and 2021, which I know they're sort of combined, but they will be awarded and decisions will be made by early next year.
Eric did get back to me offline with an alternate reason, and I do understand a little bit more now that I didn't know when I spoke, and more of a personal issue.
Yeah. And
So,
and so again,
now.
yeah, right, yeah. And because they do want to get the money out in the economy as much as, as quickly as they can as well for, it being COVID and all. So, all right, just thought I can maybe shed a little light on that.
Thank you, Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else wish to be heard? Dr. Morell.
Good evening, everyone. This question is for Mayor Goldberg.
Is there a description about the responsibility for the Shade Tree Commission, the open spot, or just whatever is explained on the borough's website regarding the commission?
It's pretty much what's on the borough website because it changes and adapts due to the skills and talents of the people serving on the commission.
Okay, and is there a formal application process? I understand that you're the person that appoints the person, so if
We have a volunteer form that you can fill out and it lists all the different committees. If you call Ellen Brogno in my office, she can fax you the form or you can download the form, I'm guessing, on our website. It's a volunteer form, but certainly look forward to seeing your application.
I wasn't necessarily asking for me,
You're
but
more involved into yourself, okay. Asking for a friend, I understand.
I was just asking, and is it safe to assume that you have to be 18 years old?
I don't think there's anything in the rules that says that. Some committees have student members. Some student members serve as advisory, just come to the meetings to learn about it. In all probability, it probably helps to be 18 years old to be a voting member of the commission.
If I may add, I know you already know this, Mayor, but we do have usually a student this year because the school session isn't in full session. We do not currently have a member under 18 from the high school. So just putting it out there for you, Mayor, because I know you already know.
But as a full voting member, Joe, it should be a person over 18 because you would be voting to spend public monies. And we don't trust 16-year-olds spending public monies. We don't much trust 50-somethings or 40-somethings either, but certainly not 16-year-olds.
What about 60-somethings?
Yeah, no, you guys are good, Eric. You're fine.
Ms. Fernandez, I'm sorry, I forgot to give Alma Morel 61 8th Ave. My apologies.
I was going to follow up when you were done.
Sorry. I'm just going to point something out, and I thought it was interesting that Melissa Lambert made a comment. So Melissa and I actually had an opportunity to be a part of the Citizens Police Academy, and I just wanted to really share that overall it was a really great experience to be a part of that. It was an opportunity to meet fellow Hawthorne residents and obviously become more familiar with the police officers in our department. I enjoyed learning from them. They gave us an opportunity to learn more about the background and understanding of law enforcement policies and practices, as well as teaching us about crime awareness, as well as addressing misconceptions. And so I really, I know it's a program that we've had for many years, and I want to congratulate, and I hope I say his name correctly, Sergeant Ian Spohn. Spohn or Spohn?
Yeah. Spohn.
Sergeant Spohn, for all of his work and time and dedication, since I know that many of the officers that come out to support are doing this on their own free time to give back to the community. So I just wanted to really make sure that the council know that this is a wonderful program. I'm sure many of you would agree, you know this already. But if any of you have not done this program, I suggest that you do it. It was fun, especially getting to drive a police car and going through the motions of being a police officer and learning from them. So I just really wanted to congratulate Sergeant Spohn and the rest of the police officers that handle this program. Thank you.
Thanks, Alma.
Just as a follow-up, Melissa gave us something in the chat regarding something that they did learn at the police academy. It was about the discussion of handing over documents, and perhaps we could put out a public service announcement of what the proper procedures are to kind of do a public service announcement to squash any misconceptions, so that maybe somebody in the future might not have the same conflict as what happened with the person with Officer Vega. And that's a perfectly fine idea. Maybe we could put something out on our Facebook page, what you should do if you get stopped, and maybe that will help. So no problem, Melissa. Does anyone else wish to be heard? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Wadecki,
Second.
second by Neely. Any comment? Roll call. All those in favor, I'm sorry.
All in
All those
favor?
favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Hecky, second by Bennett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next meeting is Monday, November 16th at 7 PM. That we were scheduled for Monday because we normally went to the League of Municipality meetings down in Atlantic City, and that's when we were previously scheduled. So we're keeping our meeting date. So for those who are attending via meeting, it's next Monday, or 2 Mondays from now, not 2 Wednesdays. So we are adjourned. Good night, all.
Good night,
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night. Stay safe.